The galaxy was burning. Stars were surrounded by wreckage, and broken planets drifted as silent tombs in the void. The alien empire was merciless. Wherever their fleets arrived, life ended. Entire civilizations begged for mercy, but the empire showed none. They believed no one in the galaxy could challenge their power. In the far edge of space, hidden away, Earth remained quiet. Humans had watched from a distance. They saw how alien fleets crushed world after world, how no one could stand against them. And yet Earth did not move. The other species whispered, calling humans weak, isolated, afraid. To them, Earth was nothing but a small world with fragile people. But silence does not mean weakness. Silence sometimes means waiting. One day a colony cried out. It was a small world, filled with farmers and miners, not warriors. Alien warships descended, their massive cannons charging, ready to wipe out the surface in fire. Families ran, children cried, and people prayed for a miracle. And then, the sky changed. At first it was nothing more than a shadow, something dark against the stars. The colony's people stared upward, confused. The alien commanders laughed, thinking it was a scrap vessel, an old freighter lost in the wrong place. But the shadow grew larger, sharper, and then with a burst of light, the warship appeared. It was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Black metal, polished like glass with edges that glowed faintly blue. The size was enormous, not clumsy, but perfect. Every line built with purpose. It moved without sound, without effort, as if space itself carried it forward. The alien fleet stopped firing. For the first time in centuries, they hesitated. On the colony below, men and women stood frozen. They had never seen a warship from Earth. They only knew stories, whispered tales that humans built weapons but kept them hidden. Could this be one of them? The alien commander sent a signal across space. His voice was filled with arrogance as it echoed through the void. Human ship, you enter our war zone. Leave now or be destroyed. The warship gave no reply. Instead, lights rippled across its hull like the slow breathing of some ancient beast. It stood silent, motionless, yet powerful, like a mountain before the storm. The alien fleet roared again, mocking it. Their cannons warmed, their engines surged. Hundreds of weapons aimed at the single ship. To them, this was no battle. It was a joke. A small human craft against an empire's fleet? Impossible, and yet, something in the silence made even the bravest alien officers uneasy. On the colony, children pressed their faces against glass, watching in awe. Farmers dropped their tools, staring at the sky. The silence felt heavy, almost holy, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Finally, the warship spoke. Not in shouts, not in threats, but in a calm, cold voice that echoed across the stars. Stand down. The voice was clear. Not loud, but heavy, carrying power that no translator could hide. The aliens laughed again, louder this time. They believed their power was absolute, their weapons unmatched. What could a single human ship do? They prepared their strike, confident this would be the easiest kill of their conquest. But those on the colony, those who looked up with hope and fear, felt something different. They could not explain why, but they believed that the human ship was no ordinary vessel. They felt that something was hidden behind its silence, something the aliens could not understand. The children whispered, "It came to save us." The mothers held their children close, praying. The men clenched their fists, staring at the sky as if strength itself had returned to them. The alien fleet prepared to fire, the countdown ticking across their systems. Cannons hummed, energy cores burned, and the commander shouted the final order. The human warship did not move. It did not raise its weapons. It only remained in the silence of space, calm, still, and waiting. The aliens thought this was weakness. They could not see the storm hidden in the shadows. Above the burning colony, Earth's warship stood alone, one ship against hundreds, and yet, its silence was louder than their war cries. The first shot had not been fired, not yet. But everyone watching knew, when it came, the galaxy would never forget. The alien commander sat high inside his flagship, a throne of steel and light surrounding him. His eyes burned with arrogance as he stared at the single human vessel. To him, it was nothing more than a shadow, an insect pretending to be a predator. "Destroy it," he ordered with a cruel smile. The alien fleet moved like a beast of 1,000 teeth. Hundreds of warships aligned, their cannons glowing brighter and brighter until the void itself seemed to tremble. The soldiers inside cheered, convinced the coming blast would scatter the human ship into dust. On the colony below, Fear and hope mixed in the hearts of the people. Children clung to their parents while the brave tried to keep calm. They knew this was the moment. If the human ship failed, their world would vanish in fire. Then it began. A storm of alien fire erupted across the sky. Plasma bolts, laser lances, and massive energy waves all converged on the single warship. The stars lit up as if a new sun had been born. Explosions filled the void, shaking the very planet below. The people screamed. The ground rumbled. The sky turned red. When the light faded, the aliens laughed. To them it was over. No ship could survive such firepower. No shield could endure 1,000 cannons. They waited to see only wreckage drifting in space. But there was no wreckage. The human warship still stood, silent, untouched. Its dark hull glowed faintly, not from damage, but from something else, something stronger than their imagination. The alien weapons had meant nothing. Every cannon, every missile, every beam, they had all struck, but none had broken through. The laughter stopped. The alien commander froze. He blinked, unable to believe what his own eyes showed him. His officers whispered in panic. The silence inside their command ships was louder than thunder, and then the warship moved. Not much. Just a shift, a slow turn of its massive hull, but it was enough. The movement was precise, graceful, like a predator finally acknowledging its prey. The blue light across its surface pulsed once, steady and calm, like the heartbeat of a giant. The alien commander growled, his pride boiling into rage. Again, fire everything. Destroy it! The fleet obeyed. Another storm of weapons unleashed into the void. A rain of destruction so vast that even nearby asteroids cracked and shattered under the force. The people below covered their eyes, certain the world itself would tear apart, and yet, when the fire cleared, the ship was still there, no scratches. No damage, only silence. The alien empire had never known fear. They had conquered stars, erased civilizations, and bent entire species to their will. But in that moment, staring at the unbroken human warship, they felt it for the first time. The people of the colony stared with wide eyes. A whisper spread among them like fire. They cannot harm it. They cannot touch it. The aliens tried to hide their fear with anger. They shouted commands, pushing their ships closer, desperate to prove their strength. But every shot failed. Every weapon broke against the impossible defense of the human vessel. The warship had not yet fired a single shot. And still, the alien empire was already losing. The silence stretched across the stars. The colony held its breath. The aliens trembled in their steel giants. And the warship waited, patient as a god, calm as the void itself. Finally, the alien commander screamed, "What is this human trick?" But deep inside, even he already knew the truth. This was no trick. This was power they could never understand, and the storm they had unleashed would soon come back for them. The void was silent. The alien fleet had unleashed everything they had, but the human warship remained untouched. Its black hull gleamed with quiet light, as though mocking the fire that had failed to harm it. On the colony below, people stood frozen in awe. Farmers, miners, children, soldiers all stared at the sky, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. 1,000 alien weapons had fired, and yet the human ship had not even trembled. And then the silence broke. A deep vibration rolled across the stars. It wasn't sound. It was something more, something that pressed against the bones of everyone who heard it. The warship had awakened. Its lights pulsed brighter, each glow timed like the beat of a heart. Sections of its hull shifted, opening like the petals of a steel flower. Hidden weapons slowly emerged, sleek, silent, and endless in number. The aliens who had laughed only moments ago now felt their blood run cold. The human ship spoke again. A calm voice echoed across space. "Last warning. Stand down." The words were not shouted, yet they carried more weight than an entire fleet's roar. The alien commander's pride screamed inside him. He could not accept it. He would not accept it. "Do not listen." "Destroy them," he yelled. His fleet obeyed, firing again in desperation. Beams of light, torpedoes, and plasma bolts filled the void once more. But this time, the warship answered. It moved. Not like other ships, with heavy thrust and clumsy turns, but like a blade through water. Its weapons came alive in a single flash. No smoke, no fire, only light. One alien cruiser vanished instantly, torn apart in silence. Another ship exploded into fragments, its pieces scattering like ash in the wind. A third tried to turn, but a single pulse of blue energy cut it in half, clean and perfect. The colony below gasped. Entire families screamed, not in fear, but in awe. They were watching gods at war, and the god of Earth had finally raised its hand. The alien fleet panicked. Dozens of voices cried out over their comms. "It's impossible. Our shields mean nothing. They are cutting through us like paper." Ships tried to scatter, breaking formation, but the human warship was faster. It glided through the battlefield like a predator chasing prey. Every movement was deliberate, every shot precise. No wasted fire, no wild destruction, only perfect strikes. One by one, alien warships turned into fireballs. In less than a minute, the great fleet that had burned worlds was being erased from existence. Inside the colony shelters, children watched the sky, their small voices trembling with wonder. "Is that us? Is that really Earth's ship?" Their parents could not answer. They too were in disbelief. The alien commander screamed, his face twisted in rage and fear. "Fall back! Fall back now!" But retreat was already too late. The warship's gun spoke again, each strike like thunder without sound, each blast rewriting the balance of power in the galaxy. A destroyer tried to shield the flagship, only to be ripped apart in a single flash. Another cruiser attempted to jump to hyperspace, but the warship's energy wave tore it from the void before it could escape. In mere minutes, the battlefield that had once belonged to the alien empire was filled with wreckage, glowing debris, and silence. The human warship finally stopped firing. Its weapons folded back into its body, the glow along its hull fading into calm blue again. It floated there, unmoving, like a judgment carved into the stars. The surviving alien ships, only a handful now, shook in fear. They had never run from battle before, but now, with trembling hands, they turned their engines and fled into the black. The warship did not chase them. It did not need to. The message had already been written in fire and destruction. On the colony, people wept with joy. Strangers embraced, families held one another, and for the first time in months, hope burned brighter than fear. They had witnessed the impossible. They had seen the truth. Earth was not weak. Earth was not silent. Earth was power. The warship spoke one last time, its voice steady, almost gentle. "You are safe now." And then, it drifted above the colony like a guardian of the stars, watching, waiting, unshaken. For the galaxy, the truth was now undeniable. The human race had finally answered, and their answer was terrifying. The battlefield was silent now. Wreckage floated where once a proud alien fleet had ruled. Shattered cruisers burned as drifting tombs in the void. The only ship left untouched was the human warship, calm, steady, and watching. But silence never lasts in the galaxy. Silence always gives way to whispers. The survivors of the alien armada fled into the black engines, burning with fear. Their voices filled emergency channels. Trembling reports carried across the empire. One ship. It destroyed us all. Our weapons useless. Our shields nothing. It is not possible. It cannot be possible. And yet it was. The Empire's High Council received the first reports within hours. At first they dismissed them as lies. No vessel could withstand the Empire's power. No species could stand against their fleets. But as more transmissions arrived, broken, frantic, desperate, they began to realize the truth. In the great chamber of the Council, silence fell heavier than stone. The rulers of 1,000 systems stared at one another with fear hidden behind their eyes. Pride had carried them for centuries, but now that pride was cracking. "What if it is true?" one whispered. "What if Earth has more than one such ship?" The thought was poison, spreading through the council like wildfire. If a single human vessel could erase an entire fleet, then what would happen if Earth unleashed an entire armada? On neutral worlds, merchants and travelers carried the tale like fireflies in the night. In crowded markets, voices whispered the story of the human warship. They say it stood against hundreds and not a scratch marked its hull. They say it fired once, and 10 ships were gone. They say Earth was silent all this time because it never needed to prove itself. Fear spread faster than truth. Civilizations that once mocked humanity now looked at their star charts differently. The small blue world, once ignored, now glowed like a shadowed threat in every corner of the galaxy. Even allies of the Empire began to waver. In private rooms, leaders whispered to their advisors, "Perhaps the Empire is not invincible after all. If Earth holds such power, should we not treat them carefully? For the first time in living memory, the Empire's grip began to slip. Not because of war, not because of rebellion, but because of fear. Meanwhile, on the colony below, life stirred again. Families stepped out of bunkers, gazing at the sky. The warship still hovered above, silent and watchful, like a guardian unwilling to abandon them. To the people, it was no longer just a ship. It was hope itself, forged in steel and fire. Children pointed upward, shouting with excitement. Old men wept openly, whispering prayers of gratitude. Entire villages sang songs that had not been sung in generations. Songs of survival, of courage, of the spirit that refused to break. But even as hope grew on the colony, fear deepened across the stars. In hidden chambers, alien commanders argued. Some demanded revenge, swearing they would build stronger weapons and return to crush Earth. Others shook their heads, voices trembling. No weapon will matter. You saw the reports. Nothing touched it. Across the galaxy, fleets prepared, but not for war. They prepared for defense. Borders were tightened, patrols increased, treaties reconsidered. No one wanted to be the next target of Earth's silent wrath, and still Earth remained quiet. The warship did not chase the survivors. It did not boast or demand surrender. It only stayed above the colony until every fire was put out, every family safe. Then, without a word, it turned and vanished into the void, leaving behind silence once more. But this silence was different. It was not the silence of waiting. It was the silence of warning. Every species felt it. Every ruler understood it. Earth had spoken, not with speeches, not with threats, but with fire and shadow. One ship had changed the galaxy's balance, and so the whispers grew into fear, and fear grew into legend. They began to call it the Black Star, a warship that moved like a shadow, struck like lightning, and left only silence behind. Children whispered its name at night while soldiers prayed they would never see it in battle. The galaxy trembled, not from the roar of alien cannons, but from the memory of a single human ship that turned alien power into dust. And somewhere, deep in the darkness of space, Earth was still watching, waiting. The galaxy could not forget. Whispers of Earth's warship had become storms of fear. In markets, in war rooms, in quiet family homes, everyone spoke of the shadow vessel that destroyed an empire's fleet with impossible ease. Some called it a myth, others called it a warning, but deep inside no one doubted anymore. Earth was no longer the silent world at the edge of space. It was the shadow standing behind every star. The alien empire tried to bury its defeat. The council ordered silence, declaring the battle exaggerated lies. But even their own commanders refused to believe. Survivors told the truth in trembling voices. Soldiers who once obeyed without question now looked at their leaders with doubt. The empire's pride had cracked, and through that crack fear poured like water. Weeks later, when the empire gathered a second fleet to reclaim its honor, they launched with fury. Hundreds of new ships, armed with stronger weapons, marched into the void where the colony floated. Their goal was simple: erase the shame, destroy the human warship, and crush the whispers before they grew into rebellion. But when they arrived, the colony was calm. Farmers worked their fields. Children played in the dust. The people did not hide, did not run. They only gazed at the sky with quiet faith, waiting for the shadow to return. And it did. The warship appeared again, silent, vast, black as the void. It did not rush, it did not roar. It simply arrived as if it had always been there, waiting in the dark. The Empire's fleet trembled. Generals barked orders, but their voices cracked. Some ships even faltered before the first shot. The memory of the first battle was still alive in their bones. The human ship spoke once more. Its voice rolled across the stars, calm but sharper than any blade. This is your last chance. Leave this world. Do not return. The alien commander, desperate to hold his crumbling pride, shouted back, "You cannot frighten us with shadows. We are the Empire. We rule the stars." For a moment, silence followed. Then the warship's lights flared. Its weapons unfolded, glowing like a newborn sun. The colony below held its breath. The alien fleet braced for fire, but no shot came. Instead, the warship released something different, a pulse of energy that rippled across the void. Not a weapon, not an attack, but a warning. Every alien ship shuddered, their systems freezing, their weapons falling dead. In a single instant, the Empire's entire fleet was paralyzed, powerless before the silent giant. The voice of the warship returned, slower this time, each word heavy as stone. Understand this. We are not here to conquer, we are not here to rule. But if war is brought to our people, then you have already seen the truth. Earth does not fight wars, Earth ends them. The words echoed, carried not just across the battlefield but through every open channel. Civilizations far away intercepted the signal. Leaders across the galaxy heard it. Even those hiding in shadows felt the weight of the declaration. The alien fleet drifted helpless, their weapons useless, their pride shattered. The commander who had shouted moments ago now sat silent, his hands trembling. He knew it was over, not just for him but for the Empire itself. The warship powered down its weapons, folding them back into its sleek body. It did not fire. It did not destroy. It simply turned, leaving the fleet frozen in silence. With one last surge of light, it vanished into the dark, gone as quickly as it had arrived. The colony cheered, tears streaming down the faces of its people. Songs of survival filled the air. They knew the galaxy would never be the same, and across the stars, every empire, every council, every soldier whispered the same words: do not anger Earth, do not test humanity. The legend of the black warship spread, no longer just whispers but truth carved into the memory of the galaxy. Humanity had revealed itself, not as conquerors but as guardians with power beyond comprehension. And so, the final warning remained, etched into the stars. Earth would not seek war. But if war came, then war itself would end.